OpenAI isn't the only company that's developing advanced large language models. One such competitor is called Anthropic. Anthropic has recently released its latest model called Claude 2, and they've done some improvements to their UI and the overall use and feel of their chat box. So in today's video, I'll be going over the new Claude 2 model and I'll be comparing it to ChatGPT. So let's go ahead and get started. If you haven't heard of Anthropic, it is a competitor to OpenAI. They are an AI company developing advanced large language models. And they've made some real strides over the past couple of months. When I first did a review of them, it wasn't really comparable to ChatGPT, but I've since went ahead and used it and it's definitely gotten a lot better. So if you wanted to access the chat box, just head over to the website anthropic.com, click on Talk to Claude, and then you need to go ahead and create an account. I've already done so, and this is where you'll be able to start a new chat. So I believe Claude 2 is already integrated into this chat box, and they've also increased their token limit. So their token limit is 100,000 tokens. So that is by far much longer than any of the models out by ChatGPT right now, because the largest token limit is 16K. So you have a lot more memory recall and you have a lot more token utilization when using this new Claude 2 model. It's very, very easy to use, very intuitive. Essentially, all you have to do is enter your inputs into the message section and then you'll get your outputs just like you would do on ChatGPT. In terms of use cases, Claude 2 should be able to do everything that you can do on ChatGPT. It should be able to explain complex tasks, should be able to code. It should also be able to write short and long form copy and do most of the other use cases that you have with ChatGPT. So let's go ahead and test some of those use cases to see how Claude 2 compares to ChatGPT. First, let's test how smart this AI is by asking it some complex questions. So I've asked it a physics question, which is, do heavier objects fall more slowly than lighter objects? And the answer is no. And they kind of explain that, which is the correct answer. I've also asked that same question on ChatGPT, and I've asked the same question on ChatGPT. And as you can see here, it is very comparable in terms of the answer that we get back from Claude. Next up, I've asked it to write a 1,000-word blog post about how to grow a personal fitness business, write in an engaging tone focused on parents trying to get healthy, and include facts and tables, and write in Markdown. So as you can see, Claude is doing its thing, and honestly, this looks pretty good. Are you a personal trainer or fitness coach looking to grow your client? Blah, blah, blah. Also offer specialized programs, leverage social media, and we also have a table here. Offer flexible packages, partner with local businesses, start a wellness blog. Okay, and it's continuing to write, and I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and see how long this content was. Doesn't seem as though it was 1,000 words. So about 456 words, so definitely not 1,000. And I've also run that same input on ChatGPT. Keep in mind we are using GPT 3.5 because I don't want to compare GPT 4 with this model because I don't think it would be a fair comparison. So this is the full article. Looks a little bit longer. We are able to get those tables, those lists. The content from ChatGPT was about 915 words, which is about 400 words more than what we got back from Claude. And it was able to write a pretty decent article about that blog post topic. So for this example here, I would have to go with ChatGPT over Anthropic or Claude for this blog post. Because first of all, the blog post was kind of short that we got back from Claude, and the content wasn't very deep. As you can see here, there's a lot of list and a lot of 1 or 2 sentences, not a lot of paragraphs. You would definitely have to play around with the prompt, and I'm sure if you generated an outline and then you did section by section, you would be able to get a much better output from Claude. But just from entering one specific prompt, I would have to go with ChatGPT for that example. Next, I've asked it to turn this blog post into a poem in the voice of Drake. So I just want to kind of test how creative this AI is. If it is able to take that information and turn it into a poem, but also mimic the voice of someone who is famous. And as you can see, it is doing that, which is pretty good. We are able to get a nice output here. I've run the same thing on ChatGPT. And again, we get a much longer output, it looks like, from ChatGPT compared to what we got back from Claude. So Claude is about 200 words for the poem, and the poem that we got back from ChatGPT is 413 words. So again, we get a lot more words, a lot more depth, and a lot longer content from ChatGPT compared to Claude. But I do like that we were able to still get some outputs, even though it's not as long. It is nice that the AI is able to understand taking that context and also be creative with its output. Next up, I've asked Claude to give me the code in HTML that I need to create a widget on my website that converts all of the prices on my site to that of the visitors. So essentially, if you visit my website, I would like to create a widget that turns all of my prices into your native currency. And as you can see here, we are getting some pretty good code from Claude. So this is a basic drop-down selector to pick currencies and display the converted price. You would need a call a currency conversion API on change and update the text. Now let's go ahead and see what we got back from ChatGPT. So I ran the same input here, and we do get some code in which we can follow. In this example, you need to replace your API key with your actual API key from a currency conversion service. So again, I think it's a little bit more in depth. It kind of really details step by step what you need to do in order to create that widget. While I am happy with the output that we got back from Claude, and it definitely does point us into the right direction, I don't think we're really getting that step-by-step guide that we got from ChatGPT, but that's kind of marginal. Again, pretty happy with Claude that you are able to generate code and audit code. So now let's go ahead and test out the math skills of both Claude and ChatGPT. So I'll be pasting in some intermediate math questions to see if we're able to get the right answers from both of these chat boxes. So these are going to be not too complex, because sometimes if it's too complex, we're not able to get the right answers. For the first equation, the answer is 22 from Claude and also 22 from ChatGPT, which is correct. So let's go ahead and paste one more question that's a little bit harder to see if both of these chat boxes are able to find the solutions. So both of them were able to give us the answers of 70, and that is the correct answer. And again, for the third question, both chat boxes were able to get the answers correct. So I am very happy with the results that we are getting back from Claude. It's definitely improved a lot since I've last reviewed it, and it definitely can stand toe-to-toe with ChatGPT. I still think ChatGPT is much better when it comes to creating longer pieces of content, writing more I guess in-depth content, and I think GPT-4 is obviously much better as well than Claude at this time, but I do think that they're making some strides and they are getting a lot better, and it's definitely a worthy opponent of ChatGPT. In terms of live up-to-date information, it does seem as though Claude 2 is trained on information past 2021. We know the limitation of ChatGPT is up to 2021. When I asked Claude who won the 2023 NBA championship, it said that the NBA season is still in progress, and as of today, which is February 20th, so in its mind, it thinks it's February 20th. So that leads me to believe that it was trained on information up to February 20th of 2023, which is obviously a big advantage when compared to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT does not have information past 2021. I've also asked it what is the latest iPhone that's out, and the latest iPhone model that's currently out is the iPhone 14. So again, this is definitely trained on information past 2021. So if you need to write more up-to-date information, it seems as though Claude may be a better option for you compared to ChatGPT, especially if you don't have ChatGPT Plus, where you cannot access plugins to get live information. So that is a big bonus compared to ChatGPT, and I like that it's been trained on information past 2021. Overall, I think Claude is a great choice. You can definitely use it by itself or alongside with ChatGPT. As we saw in today's video, there's a bunch of different use cases, and you can do pretty much the same amount of things that you can do in ChatGPT. You can do that on Claude, but I do think that there is still a difference in GPT 3.5 compared to Claude. I do think that you're able to get much more longer, in-depth outputs compared to Claude, but Claude is definitely catching up in terms of the powerfulness of their large language models. Also, let me know in the comments below which one of these chat boxes you like better. Are you going to continue to use ChatGPT, or will you be making the switch over to Claude? If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.